Okay, y'all, this is Sunday. I was sitting up here giving myself such a beautiful message. And Lord, I began to speak. And I said, I'm going to grab the iPad. I don't know if He cares or not this time, but I just felt that this would be deep this morning. And I guess I asked the question um, as I was sitting here and I was thinking about my children. I hadn't seen them. And I started hearing Mexican female police. And she kind of looked like the one who put me in a psychiatric ward. And she was angry but hurt. And she was looking over at my kids. And she was saying she didn't go see them. And then it looked like I saw Norma. And Norma goes, she thought she'd be able to take Renee's kids through this. After Kiera left, and they forbidden me to go over. And it's like I heard Norma saying she thought that she'd be able to take Renee's kids because I was going to go back over there, but I hadn't. And I sat here and I erased him out of my head and I began to talk to the Lord. And He said, I touched him. That's all. He said, what did He say? I didn't, He used the word for it, I can't think of the word. He said, because I could have allowed you both to go through this with no peace. Oh my God. But I'm still angry. I mean, I'm not hurting when I say this, but I'm angry. And I said, but Lord, how could you touch something that was so faithful to you? And I thought about Job. And I'm going somewhere with this. I'm not going to stay on fussing about the Lord because it wasn't about a fuss. I just felt like this would be a wonderful message today. And I thought about Job and I said, Lord, I'd have been so afraid when you gave me what Job had, 4 more daughters and 6 more sons. I think that's what the Bible says. He got double of everything except for his children. He's got the same amount back. And this is my point. I would have been so afraid because who can you trust outside of God? I mean, when you love something, even something that hadn't hurt you, you kind of put your all into it. A relationship that's grown and beautifully, and you love them. As I told y'all a long time ago, one of my friends, we didn't know she was having marital problems, and she didn't either. He always brought her nice things and put her in a beautiful home, and then he went off into war and was gone about a year and came back, and he just come back for his stuff. That whole time she was scared for him, and she was praying for him, and she loved him. She was hurt, and tears was rolling, and it wasn't tears that he had left her. It was tears the fact that he was in a dangerous place. But when he came back, because when he was in war, he was comforted by something else that he fell in love with, because a year is a long time to be apart. When you're apart for a year, I don't care how much you love it, there comes some anticipation that seems to dissolve. Oh my God, it dissolves. And so her husband, especially when you're being loved by something else, when you can't, oh my God, you don't see me, you don't hear me. And so he's off into war, and then some other woman is there, and maybe when he first went over there, he withheld himself, his wife, and then being a man, he had to hold on to something, especially going through what he was going through. The letters wasn't enough. So when the war was over, or when it was his time to come back, he wrote her a letter because perhaps the girl came back with him, and they loved each other, and he told her he was coming to get his stuff. Well, what do you mean? I'm waiting on you and with all the other husbands and wives, and how could you love again? How can you? Come on, because let's talk for real now. Because I know the church folks will tell us, you got to be healed. What is healing? But look at me. If it's a man, yes, because I can believe the Lord will heal me. But what do you turn to when the Lord has wounded you? Can you imagine Job sitting up there saying, what can I trust to hold my children this time? Because I know that same God, the Bible says Job was faithful and he feared God, and there was none like him on the land. He didn't do anything wrong, but he was living that careful life. I believe he has gotten so used to loving God and God taking care of him that he was just comfortable. Oh my God, just think about it. That's my question today. Waking up with Renee, I'm sitting here saying, how can you continue to love God when you were so faithful? I mean, oh wow. Only I knew how faithful I was to the Lord. Only I knew how faithful I was. And so I hear the Lord say, well, if you turn to me, you talk to me. Yeah, but it was already done. Lord, he has a way of healing us. And I know this is deep, and maybe I need to meditate a little bit more, but I felt like I didn't want to lose that part. That was the introduction. That was about 2 minutes into our conversation, and I know I drew it out for about 5 minutes now. But my heart sits here and says, Lord, but you wounded me. I couldn't look for nothing else. I remember the Lord told me when I was married and my husband was doing the things he was doing, and in the marriage, that's when you're supposed to be the most committed. And so the Lord told me, put my heart in your hands. I won't hurt you. Y'all remember I testified about that on the radio. The Lord told me. Because he was trying to teach me something. And see, we as saints, and see, we try to make true church be so easy, you know. I found even in the Bible, when you read the Bible, church is different levels. Even the building church is different level. Spiritually, you at different levels with the Lord. And some of us are called deeper. And so we suffer more. And so some of you stand on the outside and you don't understand what it is to be wounded by God. You don't understand when God told you that he won't, and he did. Oh, come on. Because I know some things in life will just occur. Some things, as I told you about Children's Memorial of the Church, and a lot of folks say, well, Renee did that because she said she, you know. Sometimes you pick up things in the spirit and you know how that people want the glory for it, so you take the glory. But I really believe that it is just part of life. See, the Lord has a way of twisting our understanding, and I'm not through this yet. I'm yet learning, but I believe that the Lord has a way of showing me, yeah, I just wanted you to see me in that so you won't want to go and get too, because you get angry when it's somebody else. And then you start thinking God is weak when you think somebody else is doing it. But when you think it's God doing it, what he's doing is he's allowing it. And so that's when my question still hit God. God, why am I still here? I did the same thing when I was married. It wasn't even directed to God. But I said, God, I wanted things to be right. I was tired of hurting. I went through for 9 years. 9. I was married close to 9.5 years, and my husband cheated 3 weeks after we got married. And he cheated throughout the year. Some cheat, some in your house cheat, some laying on your floor cheat, some driving in your car kind of cheat. I've been through that. And I had to remain quiet because at that time I was at a level with God to where I didn't want to do anything that was going to hurt God. So I stayed in the marriage. I didn't really, at times, I didn't love him. But the Lord helped me to commit to an unfaithful man. I felt like Hosea. How can you commit to something that's turning its back? My ex-husband had gotten to the point where he was sleeping in different rooms just so he can go out during nighttime when I fell asleep. That's how bad my marriage was. And I was a young girl. I wasn't an old woman trying to get somebody. I was a young, beautiful girl. And he was church. Come on, you hear me? Because we expect more from church. And we expect more when we're young. Yes, we expect more. When we get older, we say, okay, whatever comes because I'm getting old. But when you're young, you expect more. You expect better. So I'm laying up in my house alone. Sometimes my husband was out doing what he wanted to do. And I'm a young girl. And I was tired of it. And I turned to the Lord, especially with church going on. And all the people you felt should have been committed because you haven't seen the rough part of church. You thought church was the best place to be, full of leaders who were so loving and cared, and yet you get with a bunch of vipers. You just happened to marry a pastor's son and saw the inside of a leader's home. Oh, that could be the worst thing you can do, is to know what church really was. So you look at these leaders as being wrong, and then you begin to meet other leaders that they knew, and they was just as wrong as the one you saw the inside of the house with. You were broken. Where can I find love naturally? Where can I find someone who understands naturally? And then you turn in this situation, your God appeared to be doing it to you. Where do you turn when God has done all this stuff to you? That's what I ask God. And it's not that Job didn't want to love God anymore. And it's not that you don't want to love God. Because when it comes to a point of believing, in order to make it through life, you have to believe in something. And when God has been the only thing there for you,